I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know. Hi guys. Today I want to share the story with you of how I got scammed out of 5,000 US dollars living in China. I want to make it very clear that this happened early on into living in China, and I continued to live in China long after the fact, learning to love and respect the culture, the country, despite the negative experiences. When I moved to China back in April of 2017, I had been volunteering at a hostel back in Bucharest, Romania. At this time, I was kind of freaking out about what I was doing with my life. I felt like, what was I traveling for? I had no purpose. Bank account was draining. I was about to start paying hefty student loan debt with as high of an 11% interest rate. And with that high of an interest rate, it didn't look good for me moving forward in the future. Now, why is this relevant? I had been talking to some people at the hostel about my situation, and someone had suggested to me, why don't you move to China and teach English? They have very high teacher salary rates, and this way you can pay off your student loan debt. My initial reaction was, that's just ridiculous, not gonna do that. Then I started thinking I could learn about a culture that I know nothing about. It'd be really exciting, and I need money. I went on the internet and started researching teaching jobs and salaries, but I didn't exactly find high teacher salary rates, and everything kind of seemed not legitimate. I started talking to people at the hostel again. They said, no, you need to go to China first and go job hunt on foot. This way you know it's a legitimate school, you know it's a good fit for you, you'll get all the paperwork and all the stuff needed to work there, and you won't have any issues. So basically I said, why the hell not? I told my long distance boyfriend at the time my plan, and he actually decided to come with me and teach English in China at the same time. We moved to China on the 10-year tourist visa because the 1 year was basically the same price as the 10-year, and we thought if teaching didn't work out, at least we could travel around China. We searched for jobs on Shenzhen Party, which is basically a site to find jobs, find places to live, meetups, restaurants, everything. The very first job I applied to, I got an interview. Actually, I got an interview for both my boyfriend and I to come in together, as they needed 2 full-time teachers. The interview was great. The benefits and the salary and the hours were all great. Paperwork and visas and everything would be provided. She even had said that she wanted to make the school around us and that we would be the lead teachers. We had hit the jackpot. We went home after and were really excited, celebrating, even went on a shopping spree and bought a bunch of new clothes to teach English and told all our friends. But then one of my friends actually sent us a message and said, sounds great, but sounds a bit too good to be true. That night, we received a contract from the school that was very different from what we previously discussed. Down to the benefits, the salary, the hours. It was even a contract for 1 full-time teacher, not 2. We, of course, sent her a message asking, what's going on. I don't want to disclose names, so let's call her Bonnie. Bonnie responded, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I sent you the wrong contract. I'll revise it and send you a new one later. Why don't you just come in on Monday and start training? That was the first red flag that we should have paid attention to. We showed up for training that following Monday, and we're essentially thrown into the deep end. No materials, no lesson plans, no information about the class size, the students, nothing. They just gave us a few flashcards and some toys and were like, go. It wasn't a training. We were full on teaching the class. There's an article on Vice that talks about this very issue of not prepping teachers, where a recent Boston University graduate who had been teaching in 6 months prior said there wasn't even a textbook. Teachers reported agencies shuffling them between multiple schools within a single day, forcing them to adapt on the spot to different student ages, skill levels, class sizes, and isolating them from school administrators. This maximizes profit for the agencies, which can collect separate fees from each school. Before coming to China, I had spent little to no time researching the country, so I was kind of under the impression that maybe this is how they teach English here. Does it really matter? I mean, they're gonna pay me anyway. 2 months into teaching for the school, still no paycheck, still no revised contract. Visa is still processing. We would ask her every single day, where is all of our money? Where is all our paperwork? And it was always the same response. Oh, I'm still waiting on investors to give me the money, putting some finishing details on the contract. The visa application is processing. It's It's just not done yet. Looking back now, we definitely should have never started working for the school without the proper paperwork finished. We were really just naive, uneducated, and over-trusting. We were also just in a really bad situation because we either had the choice to keep working and hoping that she'll eventually pay us and give us all the paperwork, or two, quit and risk not being paid and walking away from 2 months of work for 2 employees. I was very skeptical about the entire process. I did not trust Bonnie at all. I decided to record one of our conversations where we're asking for our money, and this is how it went. We've been here for almost over 2 months. We haven't been paid. We're running really low on cash, like I said, and if we're not going to get paid, then we might as well find other work that will pay us before
I really feel very, very bad. I didn't mean, if there is a market saying like a lot of Chinese people trying to, hurting foreigners and trying to not pay them, I'm not one of them. And I always do my best to pay up people, but this is another critical time of my career and it's really odd. Okay. And it's a little bit, I push my investor every single day, even though yesterday I will stay up all night like trying to finish all the financial projection for them, and I haven't even gone back to sleep till now. Okay. So I just trying to push hard. Okay. Worst case, maybe Monday they get the whole investment.
Okay, if we don't get paid Monday, then we're going to have to look for another job. We can't even afford to live here.
If I have to get the money on Monday, I'll somehow give you something on Friday. I will try to borrow some money from my friends or families. Okay. I apologize for that, and I definitely really wanna I want this place to get to a successful phase, and I want you guys to stay long time with us, and it's quite been difficult for me as well, and after the investment comes in, everybody will get paid. Okay. And no matter what, I figure out something on Friday for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wish I could say that we quit right then and there, but we didn't. We worked for another month until we had no money left. We could not afford our next rent check, barely could afford food. I'm serious, we were eating cup of noodles like every single night. So we told our boss this. The one good thing that she did was transfer us 13,000 RMB of her personal money to help us get back on our feet. But by the end of June, we had enough. I started researching volunteer jobs through Workaway, found a place where we could volunteer at a resort in Malaysia that provided food and housing, and so we wouldn't have to worry about money. So we went there for the summer, had an amazing time, planned on coming back at the end of it for the new school year to start over and hopefully find a paying job. This is around the same time that my YouTube started to blow up out of the blue in China, and I received my very first YouTube paycheck. It wasn't a crazy amount, but at the same time, I had also received 2 years of tax refund from the IRS. It's a really long story. All you need to know is miraculously, we had a couple $1,000s to start over. When we came back to China at the end of summer, we went back to the school to find out where our money is, and guess what? The school had vanished. It was completely evacuated and empty. The door was all locked and chained up, all numbers blocked. I have never heard of Bonnie since. Our money was 100% gone. We reached out to one of the TAs that we kind of became close with to find out if she had been paid or had any contact. Same thing. She wasn't paid, had no idea what happened. That brings me to scam number 2. You would think that once you've been scammed once, you wouldn't be scammed again because you'd understand the red flags and you would know how to avoid it, right? Well, this is why it's very important what I said at the beginning of this video, that this experience doesn't represent all of China. Because yes, the first scam was from a local Chinese, but the second scam was from a foreigner. And honestly, it was the nastier one. I don't want this video to get too long, so if you're interested to hear about the second scam and how I dealt with this, how I overcame it, what are my thoughts about China. I'm also going to give you some advice, some tips on how to avoid these mistakes. Then come back tomorrow and I will share everything. This second scam is really the main reason why I put off sharing this story for so long, because I'm honestly terrified of this person. I will be keeping their identity disclosed for the duration of the video for safety reasons as I share with you screenshots of the messages and threats that were exchanged. So I decided to threaten and get the police involved, and this is why they teach you that expression in school: don't play fire with fire because you will get burned. Clyde said, "Good try. In this way, you'll never be able to come back to China. Maybe you can't even leave. Remember, we have your passport details, and police also likes juicy stories about American spies." Screenshot of my YouTube channel. I felt like in the span of a few minutes, I had lost everything.